Hello everyone, welcome to Advantech's online webinar in Europe. I'm Lina. Today we're going to talk about how to fast enable business with Microsoft Azure cloud services. We'd like to talk about IoT business development and why shall we need the cloud services and how easy it will be enabled via step 1, 2, 3. In the end, we will open our audience for quick questions. I'm pleased to introduce our speaker today, Tze Chiew, Product Sales Manager in Advantech Europe, who had 8 years experience in Advantech embedded IoT, manage IoT building blocks from wireless sensor networks to gateways and to cloud paths. Also, as a reminder to the audience, feel free to type your questions on the question box on the control panel located on the right-hand side of your screen. Your questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. Okay, Jay, to begin today's discussion, can you share with the audience about how to fast enable business with cloud services?
Thank you for the introduction, Lina. Let's start by defining what is meant by cloud. With cloud, what you essentially are doing is moving your own managed server and the services that derive from this from an on-premises system to a server in a data center. Within cloud, you can think of 3 mainstream service levels: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. I think most of Advantech customers would primarily focus on infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. So depending on which part the customer can focus on and which part the customer wants to own. Examples of software as a service that we are using on a daily basis are, for example, Gmail, Google Maps, and services like those. What could be the reasons to go to the cloud? There are a couple. First of all, you don't need to manage the server by yourself, so there's less overhead. Second, you can have access to the latest technology without the need of making large investments for your own server. Third, you can scale depending on your real business needs, again, without the large investments, so you can start small and scale as the business requirements grow. And also, you can focus on your core business, so you don't need to spend engineering or IT departments on maintaining and creating your own server. So why Microsoft Azure? There are a couple of questions that you need to get answered for choosing the right cloud solution provider as you're moving your data and services to somewhere outside your own physical reach. Therefore, I believe that high availability is of extreme importance, as well as security. I think if you are having this kind of discussions with a customer, one of the first questions you'll get will be related to security. And as you don't want others to get access to your property, well, security again plays a role. So it would be an ease of mind to know that the cloud provider has a very long track record. And number 2, they have a wide geographical coverage. So if we look at Microsoft Azure, they have data centers in 34 regions. This is, by the way, more than AWS and Google combined. This means that you could scale to wherever your business is growing to, but it also means you can migrate and or do backups of your data anywhere in the world. This will definitely be beneficial for service uptime, but also from security standpoint. Besides scaling, some industries could even require that the cloud services are stored in a specific country or region, most likely in the country or region where the service is being consumed. So with such a wide coverage, you can be sure of a very good solution for your project. The other thing that I mentioned is security. The data and services are not in your building, so how can you be sure that it is secured? That's a big question. Microsoft Azure focuses a lot on this topic. In fact, it has more certifications than any other cloud provider. These certifications can be related to either country, industry, and to pass these certifications, most Azure must comply to some rules and guidelines related to many aspects of security. Just to give you some examples: data that is in transit, asset protection and resilience to tampering, loss, damage, and so forth. The list will go on depending on which type of certification you are going after. Just to give you an idea, it is certified for use by several law enforcement agencies as well as governmental bodies like the UK, European Union, FBI, ISO, just to name a few big names. So if Microsoft Azure is secure enough for them, I think Microsoft Azure can be secure for most of our customers, if not for everyone. There are many services within Microsoft Azure, but some frequently used ones are services like virtual machine. With virtual machine, you'll basically have a virtual server running on a cloud. You can access, control, and manage this virtual server just like a local server. Other services are like web app, focusing on the development, deployment, and management of web applications. Cloud services develop applications without handling the OS status and update. Messaging manages push notifications to mobile devices like iOS, Android, Windows, and even Kindle. Database for SQL or non-SQL database service, and storage. So you have reliable, economical cloud storage for big and small data. But still, if we look at the complete offering, this can be very overwhelming, especially in the beginning. So to make it easier to adapt to Microsoft Azure and to adapt to cloud, we as Advantech, we have selected a couple of services that are essential to start utilizing the power of Azure for an IoT solution. So what are the steps? First one, cloud services. It's simply moving your server and web services to the cloud and to get access to the latest server technology and security without doing large investment. So basically going to the cloud itself, that's the first step. If you have managed that, the second step for if you want to start leveraging or engaging in IoT, you can grow by doing data acquisition. That means you will start to plug in the sensors and intelligent devices on edge to the cloud. So this enables innovation and IoT services by bringing the both ends together. And the third step would enable you to grow with data analytics and big data services. So now the real value is getting insights of the big data streams that are going to the cloud. And with these insights, you can transform your business. The first steps can be scary, but with these 3 easy steps, you can build new models that could be replicated for many new businesses. There are no upfront costs, so you don't have to do investments in hardware infrastructure. You will pay on a monthly basis, so again, you don't have a large sum of money in the beginning to purchase a server. And thirdly, you pay what you use from the moment you start using the services. So you pay as you use. This also means you pay for what you need right now, but you can easily scale according to the business dynamics. So these 3 easy steps, again, are cloud services, going to the cloud, IoT services, making the sensor layer reaching the cloud, and then big data services is deriving intelligence from the big data streams. So the first step, going to the cloud, essentially means that you're moving out of your server room. This reduces further hardware investments, maintenance cost, increased service uptime, because you are leveraging 34 regions where Microsoft have their Azure cloud solutions available, and you're lowering the total cost of ownership because of this. So if we look at the 4 services that we highlight here, is basically virtual machine. With virtual machine, you can choose your language, the workload, the operating system. It even supports Linux, Windows Server, SQL Server, Oracle, IBM, and SAP. So Azure Virtual Machines gives you the flexibility of virtualization of a wide range of computing solutions, the development and testing, running application, and extending your data center. It's the freedom of open source software configured the way you need it is. And it was another rack in your data center, so giving you the power to deploy an application in minutes instead of weeks. So the next service is web apps. The web apps feature in Azure App Service lets developers rapidly develop, deploy, and manage powerful websites and web apps. So you can build standard-based web apps and APIs using .NET, Node.js, PHP, Python, and Java, delivering both web and mobile apps for either internal use by employees or by customers using a single backend. The third is storage. So you can massively scale your cloud storage for your application. You can store and help protect your data, get durable, highly available data storage across the globe, and pay only for what you use. There are many types of data, types of ways to store. For example, blob storage for unstructured data, file storage for small, medium business, for cloud sharing. You have table storage for non-SQL data, or you have queue storage to reliably store messages, or even premium storage for high performance, low latency block storage for IO intensive workloads running in Azure virtual machines. So depending on how you want to store the data, depending on how you would like to access the data and how frequent that is, you can choose for the right type of storage. Of course, besides the performance, also this is related to pricing. Lastly, what we select as the first step to going to the cloud is a service for SQL database. Make building and maintaining applications easier and more productive with built-in intelligence that learns app patterns and adapts to maximizing the performance, reliability, and data protection. SQL database is a cloud database built for developers. So with these 4 tools, you can already start going to the cloud as the first step. So the next step is driving IoT services. So besides using the cloud for server and storage, now you want to think of bringing other devices or things to the cloud. That's what we've been talking about for the past couple of years, the Internet of Things. When bringing things like sensor data and intelligent edge gateways to the cloud, it enables you to create IoT services. In this step, you're only linking one end to the other. So what services are inside this step? You have IoT Hub, Notification Hub, and Stream Analytics. Starting with IoT Hub, it establishes bidirectional communication with millions of IoT devices. You can rely on Microsoft Azure IoT Hub to easily and securely connect your Internet of Things assets using device-to-cloud telemetry data to understand the state of your device and asset and be ready to take action when the device needs your attention. So with notification, this steps basically you're connecting your sensor to the cloud, and with Azure Notification Hub, it is basically a massively scalable mobile push notification engine for quickly sending millions of notifications to iOS, Android, Windows, or Kindle, as mentioned before. So working with APNS, Apple Push Notification Service, GCM, Google Cloud Messaging, or WNS, Windows Push Notification Services, and more, you can tailor the notifications to specific users or entire audiences with just a few lines of code. And you can do it across any platform. So this is a very powerful tool as well. With Azure Stream Analytics, it lets you rapidly develop and deploy low-cost solutions to gain real-time insights from your devices, sensors, infrastructure, and applications. You can use it for Internet of Things scenarios such as real-time remote management and monitoring, or gaining insight from devices like mobile phones or connected things. So with the second step, you have successfully managed to link the things to the internet. And now these things will generate big data, a lot of data going to the cloud. So sensors and intelligent devices will bring this big data volume to the cloud, but this will be meaningless unless this data can give you actual value. Value can be in the form of new insights, application logic, or modeling for forecasting. The interesting part comes when cross-platforms can be brought together, and when you generate cross-platform visualization in the form of a dashboard, that is when the cloud can bring you the real value. So the three services that we highlight in this third step, big data services, are Data Factory, Machine Learning, and Power BI. Azure Data Factory is a globally deployed data movement service in the cloud. You can use it to ingest data from multiple on-premises and cloud sources easily. This means the data is coming from multiple sources, even from enterprise software, for example. Then you can connect to an on-premises source with Data Management Gateway and use Data Factory to get your data where it needs to go. So it prepares and partitions your data as you ingest it or apply pre-processing steps so that the big stream of data becomes manageable. When it comes to big data analytics and predictive maintenance, these are very hot topics when we talk about IoT. And to achieve this, you can use machine learning. With the data inputs from that is coming into the cloud from the previous steps, you can have a fully managed cloud service that enables you to easily build, deploy, and share predictive analytic solutions using a simple drag and drop interface. This means you get big data analytic and prediction service with a graphical user interface. It also means that you can do high-level comparisons because you can bring in data from multiple data streams. The last part that I would like to highlight here is Power BI Embedded. It lets you create visually impactful and interactive reports against your application data. in Power BI Desktop without writing any code. It can easily be explored and your application data through freeform drag and drop canvas and produce rich data models using formulas and relationships. Choose from a broad range of modern Power BI data visualization out of the box, or create custom visualizations using open technologies like D3 WebGL or for your reporting needs. So what Power BI essentially is doing is giving some powerful visuals on the data stream that's coming in, and also on the type of actions that needs to be taken. Microsoft also provides Azure Marketplace for cloud service business. This is a new business model for to IoT business, and we can sell our services via Azure Marketplace, just like software houses sell the games on mobile app stores. You can, if you offer applications, it can be a business transformation to sell services in this new way, and it can be the new promotion method to reach out to new customers. But when you are at the buying end of the application, you can reduce your own development costs by spending your resources to your core business instead of developing applications. Right now, there are more than 3,800 solutions in the marketplace that are subcategorized in different services. That will make it easy to find the right service that fit your needs. One of these services is WisePass RMM 3.1 from Advantech. And WisePass RMM is Advantech's IoT middleware that can easily bridge industrial computing hardware with the cloud and enterprise software. So this combination can speed up your IoT solution deployment drastically and can let you focus on your core competence. One important aspect could be incorporating your domain knowledge into the application logic to bring the industrial computing hardware, the sensor, and the intelligent edge devices to the cloud, bringing the data to the cloud, and then using your domain knowledge and application logic to derive value from and knowledge from this data. The key takeaways of this introduction I would summarize as follows. The first one: IoT solutions is no longer conceptual. I believe that proof of concept is done. Now it is time to show the proof of value, and it can be done even with limited resources, considering that we, Advantech, are offering IoT Gateway starter kits, where you can start deploying your POC. And with a test environment, you can already test Microsoft Azure with no fee, or with a small fee because you pay as you go without upfront cost. You can even build the real solution and take it offline and not paying for additional costs if you see that this is not the right direction. So, to be honest, it's cost should not stop you from testing and deploying your IoT solution. The second takeaway is there are many services within Microsoft Azure, but with the selected 10 services that were highlighted in this introduction, you can first of all go to the cloud. Second of all, stream your data to the cloud. And thirdly, let the data bring you new valuable insights for business transformation. The third takeaway I would say is having reliable eco-partners are of extreme importance for an IoT deployment. And I believe with Advantech, plus Microsoft, you get 30 plus years experience in industrial computing and software services. With the building blocks that we provide together, it will shorten your time to market of your IT deployment, and also you can be rest assured for high reliability and long service support. Thank you for attending this webinar. If you're interested to learn more about the topics covered in this webinar, feel free to contact me. I believe we have some questions from the audience. We'll pick a couple, considering the time limitation. So the first question that I see is, how much will it cost for me to go to the cloud? Well, it's an obvious question. It's not an easy one to answer because it depends on many factors. First of all, I've highlighted 10 different services, and the price will depend on which service are you going to consume. Second of all, in what capacity are you going to consume these services? To give an example, imagine virtual machine. When you go when we have helped you create an account in Microsoft Azure, you can use your account to choose your project, and by choosing your project you can also choose the performance of your virtual machine. What OS needs to run on it, what CPU power, how much capacity RAM, how much capacity storage, and so forth. So that will define the cost of your solution. And then, for example, to give you an idea as well on the storage side, I mentioned there are different types of storage. Obviously, the capacity will define the cost, but also the type of storage will define the cost. So to make it easy, there is a web page from Microsoft Azure where you can simulate your price. So you can, before signing up even, you can already get an idea what it will cost to use the services that you have in mind. To give you a rough idea, a virtual machine with, let's say, 1 terabyte of storage and a couple of services attached, you should think about a cost ranging from $50 to hundreds to $200-300 per month. You have to benchmark this cost with when you have your on-premises server, where you'd have this kind of services. So first of all, you have to pay thousands of dollars to have the server running, and then you still have to have people to maintain it and to make sure the uptime is secured. And what I mentioned also during the webinar, scalability is a big plus point. And also the latest technology is a big plus point. You can benefit the latest technology without the need of continuous investments. I hope I've answered the first question adequately. Otherwise, feel free to contact me. I see we have time for one more question, and the question is, how is my data being backed up in Microsoft Azure? Well, we come back to the storage question. Same as when you have different types of storage, you can also choose how you would like to do the backup of your data. Do you want to do a local backup on the exact same server as where your data is? Do you want to back up locally, so in the same data center but on a different server? Or do you want to back up in a different data center or a different country or a different region even? So you can choose how far the backups needs to be apart from each other on a physical basis for a very high reliable backup system. So again, you can choose the type of backups in the pricing simulator and get an estimate, or well, not an estimate. Well, you get the real cost of how much it would cost to do the backup very local or on the other side of the world. Once more, thank you for your attention during this webinar, and also the questions, really interesting. I am sure you have tons of other questions, so feel free to contact me or your Advantech contact person to get more information on Microsoft Azure and Advantech products and how to move forward from this day forward. Thank you very much.